Welcome back, Gettysburg College. I'm Holden Mills.
And I'm Sebastian DiNatale, filling in for Brian Norcross here at Channel 34 News. Well, hold on for a second. I just got a text message telling me to stay indoors and be quiet. No, it's not my ex-girlfriend. The new emergency broadcast system was finally instituted last Tuesday, marked by a loud bell sound and text message and voicemails being placed on all the students' cell phones. If you didn't receive a text message or a voicemail, update your status and information on your CNAV account. Over the break, a new bias and harassment policy was instituted. Here with more is Ali Salatino with an exclusive interview with Dean Ramsey.
The bias-related conduct policy has been developed by the Student Life Committee, and what we have come up with is a policy that talks about several things. First of all, it helps students understand if they are the victim of any kind of biased conduct. It gives them an idea about what they're supposed to do, what they can do to have that addressed by the college. Secondly, it gives all students an understanding about the difference between what biased conduct is, what harassment is, what hate crimes are.
Do you think that crime and harassment and prejudice is a major problem on this campus?
There have been issues of biased conduct, certainly biased speech, graffiti, things like that. And last year we saw a little bit of an uptick in those in situations like that. So it did get our attention, did cause us to be more concerned and to think that we really needed to address this.
How do you think that we can change this type of negative behavior?
Probably the most important thing is for students to have conversations, communication with one another about these kinds of instances. So, and it's always better to have that conversation when you're not dealing with a specific instance, because once you have a specific incident, everybody focuses on that, and really it's a much more it's a much bigger issue about how people treat one another.
If you tried eating at Servo at 8 o'clock sometime this week, I'm sure you realize that you can't, due to the Servo changing their dining hours. With more on this story, we go to our very own Andrew Orange.
Once a popular option for those looking for a late-night snack, Servo's late light fare used to be a staple, but that has all changed. Established in 2001, it was meant to give students another option to eat at besides the bullet hole late in the evening.
We were busy at first. It was a busy day, and the late night fare was fairly active. But the numbers declined over years, incredible amount.
Most recently, the numbers, who used to be up in the 100s, have been averaging less than 25 students per evening. Servo determined that this was a waste of resources and moved to change the policy.
And using this dining student advisory committee and asking them their opinion and getting their input, we decided to open up the dining hall earlier at 7:15 a.m. and keep the dinner service hours open later till 7:45.
So now, students can start breakfast earlier and have a little bit more time for dinner. In other Servo news, theme dinners are back.
This year, in its place of Mardi Gras on February 7th, we're doing Chinese New Year. And that is something I don't think we've ever done before, and if we have, it was a long time ago. So that's going to be a big night.
This has been Andrew Orange reporting for Channel 34 News.
Parking has always been an issue here on Gettysburg campus, from not being able to find a spot to getting rocks thrown at your windshield. There has always been problems. Well, the college hopes to alleviate some of those problems next year as it starts implementing several new parking policies, including a potential student parking fee and the elimination of student parking for all freshmen. With more on the story, we go to our very own Jamarco Bennett with an exclusive interview with Bill Lafferty.
I would say that Gettysburg College does not have convenient parking. Right now we're at the point where we're not saturated. We just don't have the availability to, once you're parked in one location on campus, to move. And what we see is a tendency for students in particular to move from their residence hall to the dining facility, then to some classes, to the athletic complex, and we don't have the available space in order to do that. With new construction, we realize the need now that although we're not saturated, we are probably going to reach the point of being saturated.
Rumors has it that there's going to be changes in the fall coming 2008. So could you address that?
We're right now, well, we don't know if it's going to happen in the fall of 2008. That's kind of a game plan. But what we're doing right now is engaging students in conversations about parking issues. And the two themes that we've been raising is, one, first-year students, eliminating first-year student parking, and two, the potential of charging a fee for parking. The feedback we've heard so far from students is the fee, they're not necessarily objecting a fee if the fee is going to be used for something, for example, to offset transportation cost, or provide some additional transportation for first-year students who wouldn't have vehicles here, or potentially be used to upgrade some of the parking lots. So that's kind of the feedback we're getting right now. So the process is to engage more students in conversation and then make some decisions maybe prior to the 2008 year, but not necessarily so. So I don't think the first-year parking is an issue. I think there's some discussion and debate around cost and why we would have to charge costs, and is it absolutely necessary? And if we did, what do we get as a result of that? Which is all understandable and one of the reasons why we're having these conversations. But what I've heard so far is that if we pay a cost, we want to see something in return. That being either some type of decent transportation service locally, do some improvements to the stone lot, add some additional lighting, potentially add cameras to some of the remote parking lots, because as you well know, we've experienced some issues within our stone lot, unfortunate vandalism incidents and whatnot. So that's kind of the feedback we've heard so far.
So if next year they were to charge you for your parking, how would you feel?
I really just don't see why that would be necessary, because we're supposed to be allowed to have cars on campus, so I don't see why we should have to pay for it.
If it guaranteed more spots and more availability, then I wouldn't mind an increase. But the parking is a little bit tight, and it is a situation that has to be dealt with, I guess.
I'm not so sure. I mean, I was under the impression when I applied here that parking was one of the things that was guaranteed to us. And I think that that's something that, it should be guaranteed to every student, and I don't think it would be fair to kind of spring it on us in 1 year. I'm not so sure. I think I still might pay it because I want to have my car on campus, and I do care about everyone having their ability to park, so I suppose so.